Hello and welcome to another Better Place Australia podcast. When a couple have decided to separate and there are children involved, what's the best way to go about it? Eliza is a family dispute resolution team leader for Better Place Australia, and she de-identifies and shares the story of a separating couple with children who she helped.
So the father initiated the mediation, and they were a family with 3 children, all under 10, 2 girls and a boy. And they just had quite a recent separation, which was still relatively amicable.
Right. And so how did you approach this?
Okay, so they had a clear idea of what they wanted to achieve from the process, and they did want quite a comprehensive parenting agreement, which covered every eventuality. So it included things like passports, interstate travel, domestic travel, international travel, schooling, extracurricular activities.
Wow.
So it really was very broad in terms of what it covered, but also quite detailed in terms of what the agreements actually were.
Right. So what were the steps they had to take? I guess it's not that easy to just outline it like that, is it?
No. So basically what happened is that the intake assessment appointment was completed with each of them, and then which gave me a really good sense of history and the context. And it also helped me anticipate some issues that might come up during the mediation. I explained to both of them that despite the fact that the separation was quite amicable, that mediation can bring up some difficult emotions and some of the conversations can be quite challenging. So it was important for me to be able to prepare them for those conversations.
Yeah.
So we also did a pre-mediation review. So that's an opportunity where I spent half an hour with each of the parties over the phone. And I basically talked them through the process in terms of what to expect from the session itself and the way that I will run the session.
Gotcha.
I think it really helps if you can be as prepared as possible for mediation and know what to expect and what might be the more challenging elements of those conversations too.
Were the kids with them, with you all together, or was it?
No. So generally, unless we're doing a child-informed mediation, which probably is a lot less common than just mediating generally for property or children's matters, the children are never involved in mediation. I guess the reason for that is that these are adult conversations
Yeah.
and adult decisions that need to be made. So we don't want children to ever feel that they're in the middle or that they have to choose between the parents.
Yeah, good one.
So it's always with parties.
Did it run reasonably smoothly? Were there any hiccups that...
Look, yeah, we had about 4 sessions, and I guess what I anticipated around the fact that there were these kind of unexpected emotions and some challenging areas of discussion was exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Both parents were unexpectedly triggered by some of the content of the discussion, and both became quite emotional.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected in a mediation process.
Understandable, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really difficult time for people, and as practitioners, we really understand that some things can be really challenging, and parents don't even know that a lot of the time going into the mediation until it actually happens.
Yeah, so it's really good to be prepared to be aware that your emotions could be opened up,
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of being able to run in a joint or shuttle format. So,
So what do you mean by that, a shuttle format?
so in matters where it's appropriate to do so, we can have those joint discussions. Now, what we are looking at is we're wanting people to feel in a really good headspace to be able to make decisions for their children and have these important conversations.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times that might mean mediating separately between the parents,
Right.
where the practitioner will go back and forth separately between them. So
Gotcha.
that can happen, via phone or via video. And when the practitioner is mediating with one of the parents, the other parent would be in the Zoom waiting room or on hold, or a lot of the times the practitioner will call back. So um, yeah, it gives us the scope to be able to work one-on-one with the parents.
Yeah.
Even though we don't advocate for either of them, we want to support that conversation that they're having.
So what would you say, were they happy with the outcome in the end, or was it?
Absolutely. They reached a full agreement. We did have that unexpected, I guess it was that unexpected trigger where there was one particular issue um, around schooling where they really had different opinions and were quite polarized.
Yeah.
There was content within that discussion that they found quite triggering, and I moved them into a shuttle format and had a one-on-one conversation with them. Was able to unpack um, why that was particularly triggering. Um, and that was really effective because what we then did was end the session. And I said to each of them, have a think about what you are prepared to accept. It might not be your ideal outcome, but think about what you can live with. And then we'll come back next session and discuss.
Great.
So they came back next session and they were able to reach an agreement. They'd
Wow.
both had the time to reflect and think about it, and they were able to negotiate a compromise, which was really positive.
Great. Is it possible for you to give one takeaway that someone can have about what happened?
I think the takeaway is that it's really not about winning or losing or getting, your own way. And you might walk away from a mediation and not get the outcome that you wanted. But the thing to bear in mind is it's about the best outcome for the children.
Yeah.
And it's got to be practical. So think about what you can live with and think about what is going to be best for the children from their perspective.
Fabulous. Yeah, putting the child first, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Eliza, Family Dispute Resolution Team Leader for Better Place Australia. For more information on family dispute resolution and how Better Place Australia can help, go to the website betterplaceaustralia.com.au.